Welcome to the Arlington Street Church podcast. Founded in 1729, Arlington Street continues today as a gathering place for progressive people of faith in the greater Boston area and beyond. We are located at the corner of Arlington and Boylston Streets, across from the Public Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Please visit ascboston.org for more information about this historic Unitarian Universalist congregation. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.
There's been a lot of change in my life recently. As many of you know, I just graduated college. I decided to put my degree to use and get a big girl job, and as a result, I left my beloved job as a preschool teacher. That's already a lot of change, but at the same time, Boomerang's closed, the thrift store, and my favorite local coffee shop as well. These places have been touchstones in my life. They give me comfort and friendship. I am on a first-name basis with everyone who works at that coffee shop. I know their passions and what's going on in their lives, and they have seen me through all of my finals. These places mean a lot to me. So sometimes I get a little overwhelmed by all that is changing. Instead, I try to focus on what has been consistent in my life, places I can return to in order to maintain my communities. I mentioned in my bio that I am a music lover, and as some of you may know, I play the bassoon. Not the typical instrument choice of a middle schooler, but nonetheless one I have stuck with. While I don't get as many opportunities to play anymore, about 2 or 3 times a year I return to the Community Music Center of Boston for bassoon band. You might have a few questions about that sentence. CMCB is an organization that provides music education and arts experiences to many kids who would otherwise not have had that opportunity. Bassoon band is exactly what it sounds like, a band composed entirely of bassoons. My teacher at CMCB, Janet, gathers up all of her current and former students in the Boston area, and we play a mix of classical and pop music together. Imagine 12 bassoons playing Lady Gaga in the streets of Roxbury, and you'll have an idea of how I spent a Saturday. Whenever I go back and play with Janet and her gaggle of bassoonists, I am reminded of how much joy it brings me to play music with other people. I reunite with old friends who I only see when I play in bassoon band. I provide moral support for some of the younger bassoonists who are nervous about playing in public, and most importantly, I get to share the music that we make. Bassoon band played at Open Streets Roxbury, and I chatted with people there who had never heard of a bassoon before. If you too are confused about what a bassoon is, don't worry, you're not alone. I explained what the instrument is and how it works, and then we played our music. I could see the kids passing by to stop and marvel, and the parents who were slightly confused, but interested. Playing again at CMCB gave me a community of bassoonists, music teachers, and appreciators, and then brought me into the community of Boston to share that music. Another place I've returned to, even if I myself am a newcomer to it, is Gays for Patsy. This is another group some of y'all might be aware of. I stumbled upon them when my friend asked me if I wanted to go line dancing in JP. Always one for a new experience, especially if it involves dancing, I agreed. At the end of the night, I stopped back at my house and told my parents what I had done that night. My mom looked at me with amusement and asked if the group I had danced with was Gays for Patsy. When I said yes, she smiled at me and told me that was the group she and Claire used to dance with. Growing up, I had heard stories about their time in Gays for Patsy's performance dance troupe, and I had played dress-up with their old costumes. Although I was new to country line dancing, I was still somehow returning to a space that I had always known. Apparently, I was brought there as an infant. The next time I went back, I said hi to all my mom's friends that were still dancing with GFP. That same night, as I was on the dance floor, when I heard someone shout in surprise, "Is that Lucy Humphrey?" I looked around when I heard my name, which is difficult to do as I try not to trip on my feet, and I spotted one of my godmothers, Auntie Danielle, who also used to dance with GFP. I hadn't seen her since COVID, so I got to catch up with her, and we got to dance. She was significantly better than me, not surprisingly. I now go to every social dance that GFP offers, and I have made friends there who are very passionate about line dancing and are organizing events in addition to the ones that GFP offers. Spaces like Gays for Patsy and the Community Music Center of Boston have become incredibly important to me. They provide a necessary service in these times. They gather people together and let them get loose in community. If I find myself feeling isolated, the connections I make there help me feel a little less lost. It's no coincidence for me, at least, that these places are tied to music. It has been such an integral part of my life. I'll give you another instance that relates to music. Since I was going to be out of town for Pride this year, I thought I would lend a hand to Queen Cheryl and the beautification, or gayification, of the sanctuary. On the Thursday before Pride, I joined Queen Cheryl, Morgan, Barbara, and a few others, and we set to work decorating this place. Of course, no work could be completed without a phenomenal soundtrack. The speaker was loud, and it played music that I do not often hear in church, unless you count the dance floors as a type of church. Looking upon this magnificent tapestry of gay and trans flags, I felt so much joy and so much pride to be in a space with my friends with the express purpose of creating a welcoming and loving community. I know I'm lucky to have had this experience, and I know it's been hard-won. As we continue to work towards making this a reality for everyone, I am mindful of those who aren't as fortunate. I recently read a story about the obituary of a veteran, Colonel Edward Thomas Ryan, who passed away on June 1st of this year. In his obituary was a message that he wrote before his death. I must tell you one more thing. I was gay all through my life, through grade school, through high school, through college, through life. I was in a loving and caring relationship with Paul Cavagnaro of North Greenbush. He was the love of my life. We had 25 great years together. Paul died in 1994. I'll be buried next to him. His message continues, I'm sorry for not having the courage to come out as gay. I was afraid of being ostracized by family, friends, and coworkers. Seeing how people like me were treated, I could just not do it. Now that my secret is known, I'll forever rest in peace. Edward Thomas Ryan, Presente. When I came across this story, I was both inspired that he had the courage to come out at all, and heartbroken that he still had to hide who he was. I am lucky to have had the support and care of all of my communities, and his story reminds me of how lucky I am. I sometimes struggle to articulate how I'm feeling, so I will borrow the words from a musician that I like, Hosier. It ain't the being alone. It ain't the empty home. You know, I'm good on my own. It's more the being unknown. Colonel Ryan found love and eventually found peace, but he was unknown, at least in one aspect, all his life. His story led me to think about the difference between being alone and being unknown. I am glad he wasn't alone, but to be unknown everywhere else feels profoundly lonely to me. His story motivates me to build and value the connections and communities I have, the places where I can be fully myself. As everything feels like it is changing around me, I turn to these places where I feel known, where people really know me. For me, these spaces are often centered around music, whether I'm dancing, performing, or at a local artist concert. When I'm there, I feel connected to the people around me. Even if they don't know me, I feel seen. Now, you might be listening to me and thinking, I am not a person who likes big social events with loud music and a gazillion people. I don't know what I'm supposed to take from this. And that's fair, events like that can be overwhelming. As Hosier says, I'm good on my own, and he's right. Sometimes I need to be alone. It helps me recharge. Maybe you like reading or going on walks in the park, or generally just being by yourself. For you, I turn to the words of poet David Wagner. Stand still. The trees ahead and the bushes beside you are not lost. Wherever you are is called here, and you must treat it as a powerful stranger. Must ask permission to know it and be known. The forest breathes. Listen, it answers. I have made this place around you. If you leave it, you may come back again saying, here. No two trees are the same to raven, no two branches are the same to wren. If what a tree or a bush does is lost on you, you are surely lost. Stand still. The forest knows where you are. You must let it find you. While this poem is ostensibly about being in the moment, I take another lesson from it. The forest breathes. Listen, it answers. Wherever you are, the trees know you. The weeds, the flowers, the bushes, they know you. You are a part of this interconnected web of life, and that includes the trees. When you walk among them, they know you. The birds who have made a home in the trees know you, and they answer you too. So I think even in solitude, you don't have to be lonely. There is something or someone out there that knows you. You can be alone and not be lonely. But a part of this poem is that you have to ask permission to know and be known. You have to put yourself out there, as scary as it may seem. I'll return to my coffee shop, the one that has since closed down. While the coffee shop may not be the same, I'll have the opportunity to be known again. I recently introduced myself to the new owner and struck up a conversation with her. She's going to be opening a new coffee shop in its place. Things change, and that can be very difficult. But the end of one thing often marks the beginning of another. I now have a chance to make a new community. There's a lot of change and a lot of uncertainty in our world right now, and it can be a struggle to feel any sense of stability. That is why finding and maintaining community is so essential. It is in these spaces that we are known and we are loved. Times of change give us an opportunity to create new communities that can know us as we truly are. These spaces can only exist if we put ourselves out there and actively work to maintain them. When we reach out to those around us and get to know them, it allows us to be known in return. I'll end with a song that we sing at Sanctuary Boston as we do our community candles of sorrow and joy. After we have listened to the members of the congregation, we sing these words together. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. I want you all to be able to rest in the love that we have cultivated in this community and take that love and send it out. We rest in this love. Amen. And now for our benediction, I invite you to put your hands over your heart in namaste. I bow to the divine in you. In the words of Reverend Cynthia Landrum, we leave this gathered community, but we don't leave our connection, our concerns, our care for each other. Our service to each other, to the world, and to our faith continues until we are together again, friends. Be strong, be well, be true, be loving. Let us keep this faith, beloveds, and pass it on. The service begins when the service ends. Bless your hearts. I love you. Amen.
Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine.
Please visit ascboston.org for more information about this historic Unitarian Universalist congregation. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.